One of the first acts that this government did was allow GMOs to be imported into the country. And we know it was Kibaki who said no to GMOs. And it stayed so for up 10 years now. So for someone who doesn't know what's a GMO that we are talking about, can you sort of help us explain a little bit what is it?
What we have in terms of nature, we have indigenous seeds. This exists naturally, indigenous seeds. What GMO does, they pick, and many people do not understand the difference between an hybrid, a crossbreed, and GMO. If I take, for example, an orange stem and I propagate that, say with a lemon stem, I will get a crossbreed of orange and lemon. That's an hybrid. That's not a GMO. I'm just improving. I'm picking the best of one crop and another crop and just combining to get a superior. Hybrid is not GMO. GMO, they go back to the lab. They take the genome of a seed, like the atom, the smallest formation of that seed, and they change. So they change it in such a way they can tailor in a particular way. Because you see, you're changing the genome of that particular seed. For example, if it's maize, they can develop a maize that will grow, say, in 3 months or say in 2 months. They also tailor that seed in such a way that it cannot grow unless a particular pesticide is used on it. So in the lab, the makers of GMO make the decision of what they are making. That's what we call a GMO. They change the genome of that seed, which originally was an indigenous seed. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, and I think it's also important you mentioned like the difference between the two, because a hybrid, as you mentioned, it's between the same species, right? So you're not going outside the barriers. Yeah. So in this context, so let's say if you have two maize varieties, for example, one is short, one is tall, and you want one that is sort of in the medium, so you can crossbreed those two and then you can get it. So you're not crossing the species barrier, but for the GMOs, they're going outside the barriers.
When you mentioned that, I'll just give you an example. Someone brought me an orange at home. I think they couldn't eat oranges, so they packed the oranges and brought them at home. There's a big orange that was brought in my house. I'm very keen on what I eat. And this orange was abnormally big. So my daughter cut the orange, and then inside it was red. GMO. So this is actually a crossbreed of an orange and a melon. It is awful. It's big, it's this big. Ndani ni machungwa, yes, but it's red. It's actually in the market. It's in the supermarkets. Outside, it's a beautiful orange color. Pretty bigger than the normal orange. But inside is red. And then you keep quiet and ask yourself, and just even to further on that, on what you're saying. Let's take the examples of countries that have consumed GMOs. Let's talk about them. South Africa has consumed GMOs for a very long time. They did not consume GMOs. Food production in South Africa is actually controlled by the white settlers. Now, the white South Africans. You see, like the Del Monte farms, we don't have many here in Kenya. The Kakuzi farms, those are the big white-owned farms in Kenya. Now in South Africa, it's extreme. They literally own the country and they do extensive farming. That's why GMO in South Africa has been legal for a long time. I'm looking at countries like, let's talk about America, where they've consumed GMOs forever. Everyone is stepping away from GMOs. Now, American scientists have science documents, science papers, talking about the effects of GMO. Just to consolidate that conversation, Brian, GMO, it is proven. It's proven. Science papers are there. GMO, scientists can actually go to the lab, develop a seed that can attack a gender, can actually attack a race. The seed is genetically modified, for example, to attack a black male child. So, hata tukule sisi wengi, the effect is going to be on a black male child to develop a particular effect. That's how GMO is. It's engineered for a particular reason. Now, because like as we are speaking right now, we have two varieties of GMO on sale in Kenya right now for planting. They're already in the market. I think they were released this month. We have two. We've been consuming a lot of maize GMOs in Kenya because our maize is actually imported. We don't have control of what is grown out there. So now they want us to actually grow it literally here. We have a couple of court cases that are going on around GMO. That is a matter of wait and see. South Africa has won their case against GMO. They actually won in the Supreme Court. Yeah. South Africans have battled that court case for a long time, and they've won, and they've proved. The South Africans have been able to prove on health implications of GMO on the human body. Okay, so when we talked about food sovereignty, and now we are having a conversation about GMO. Now, can you see how one person sits and decides in a lab how they are going to modify seeds that are going to be consumed by a population? You see, GMO is their science documents. It's all over. Everyone knows the effect of GMO, the relationship of GMO and cancer and autism on children. This autism you're seeing on children, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. You see all these they call lifestyle diseases. They have a very close correlation with GMO. The documents on cancer and GMO out there, you won't believe it. And those are the conversations we need to have.